3M CR-20 polyurethane foam insulation adhesive is applied to the deck or substrate in ribbons or beads that are approximately 1.5 to 2.5 inches in width and approximately 1 to 1.5 inches in height. On decks or substrates that are very uneven or rough, additional CR-20 should be applied to ensure adequate contact between the insulation board and the deck. CR-20 is applied in rows placed a maximum of 12 inches on center. These rows of adhesive can be placed in a horizontal or vertical orientation, depending on installer preference, but they must maintain a maximum 12-inch on-center pattern. Insulation boards are to be placed immediately on the wet adhesive, but not walked into place or compressed into the adhesive until the CR-20 has begun to thicken and started to develop its initial bond. The time involved in this process is contingent on the ambient as well as deck surface temperature. Temperatures between 40 and 65 degrees Fahrenheit will lengthen the reaction time and slow down the curing process. In this temperature range, the insulation board should be walked in after 6 to 10 minutes. Temperatures between 65 and 90 degrees Fahrenheit will yield standard reaction rates, and the insulation board should be walked in after 3 to 6 minutes. Temperatures greater than 90 degrees Fahrenheit will yield quicker initial reactions and an accelerated cure time. At these temperatures, the insulation board should be walked in after 1 to 3 minutes. After the adhesive has attained its initial bond strength, the board can be walked in and will be compressed to the deck or substrate exhibiting minimal slippage or movement. The board should be exposed to minimum traffic for at least 10 to 20 minutes, depending on temperature, after they have been walked in place to avoid breaking the freshly formed bond. Membranes can be applied once the adhesive has achieved sufficient bond strength to the immediate substrate to which it is adhered. It is recommended that the contractor inspect the installed installation for proper adhesion and re-adhere any boards and/or corners that are not adequately attached. Boards that will not lay flat due to cupping, warping, or crowning, or surface irregularities of the substrate should have weights placed on the boards until the CR-20 has achieved adequate adhesion to hold the boards in place. Insulation boards must be installed in a staggered brick pattern to avoid all the head joints of the insulation boards from lining up with each other. If a second layer of insulation is to be applied, the boards in this second layer must be installed so the joints are not directly above the joints of the layer beneath, both on the head joint and the side joint. This is required to prevent thermal breaks in the insulation system. When installing tapered insulation, particularly panels with a thin edge of less than 1 inch, it is acceptable to apply the CR-20 1 to 2 inches from the outside edge of the board. This will help to eliminate the cupping or warping of the tapered board at the edges. If a board continues to cup, it is recommended that the weight be placed on the edges of the board until the CR-20 has achieved a sufficient bond to hold it in place.